AI, or artificial intelligence, is what it's usually referred to, is largely a bad idea, in my view. It has a few upsides and many, many downsides that I think the public is very naive about. What I'm going to do in this video is share for you many of the downsides on the economy and in the workforce in regards to AI. Who are we going to be as a people with AI? What will the persona or the collective personality of America be in 20 years with artificial intelligence? I see no real plan by the culture or the government to replace all the jobs that AI is going to take away from us. There's going to be a lot of lawsuits over job loss in America due to AI. And they're going to be in areas such as actors, artists, Hollywood, entertainment, many service level jobs, and even some factory work. There's going to be massive job loss in these areas if it's not stopped. In fact, that's why there's tons of lawsuits right now in those areas and with unions. Will people date or marry robots? Will AI replace people in the labor force? Ultimately, like I said before, a lot of it is probably mainly going to be decided in the federal courts and the local court system over these issues. Some of it hasn't been completely legally determined what our relationship with these robots or beings or programs is even going to be. We really don't completely know at this point. What I do know is there's going to be a lot of job loss in an already depressed economy because of this, and illegal immigration is another big part of the problem. One big issue with AI is if you end up with massive job loss in mass across the whole country, you're going to have a lot more people taking early retirements in their late 20s and late 30s, and what's going to happen is there ain't going to be much out there for them to do in the way of work. And they're going to end up on federal programs like SSI, disability, Medicaid, welfare, and even some local county programs because they will not be able to support themselves, obviously, without a job. Some, yes, will be able to retire out okay on things like SSI and disability, but not everybody can do that. Once again, there's going to be a lot of legal questions with this and how many people the government will allow on these kinds of programs, but they'll have to end up on a lot of these programs. My father came from a state, Pennsylvania. He grew up in western Pennsylvania, Allegheny County to be exact. They were dealing with this heavily in the 1980s because of all the job loss with U.S. Steel and U.S. Steel going bankrupt in 1984. You had a lot of people there that ended up on welfare or left the area, which decimated their tax base because of this. Many of these people couldn't support them, their kids, or pay for their own health insurance. In fact, when President Clinton was president, I believe the CHIP program was designed on the issues of what happened to western Pennsylvania in the 80s because a lot of these families could not afford or get health insurance anymore. A lot of it had to do with children that went without health care in the 1980s because of this massive job loss in one region of the country, which was about a third of the state of Pennsylvania. Big problem. That's just one example. I think what's going to happen is a lot of it's going to be decided in the legal system, and that's where the conclusions are going to come down to. Judges are going to make these rulings that are going to be really the conclusions on AI for our society and the way that we live in the culture and in the economy. AI is largely a bad thing, and I think the public is very naive about it. Once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your consideration. My next video is going to be on AI's relationship to these national union strikes that have been happening heavily in the last year, and why unions are so concerned about AI and big tech. Even if you're not in a union and you're working, you should be concerned about AI. It's eventually probably going to affect almost everybody. They are rightly concerned about it. Thank you for your time. It's free to subscribe.